Good evening, everybody. Thanks for staying with us tonight. Appreciate it. But Steve O'Donnell, NASCAR Executive Vice President and Chief Racing Development Officer, wanted to update you guys on some news and also share some information that he just shared with some drivers and the OEMs and the crew chiefs. This evening we had a meeting following today's qualifying and practice, which we deemed successful for the Pure Michigan 400. So thanks for coming in, Steve. Appreciate it. I know it's been a long day. You've been working hard, but thought be a good time to share with the group some of the stuff we've got going on.
Sure. Thanks, David. As David said, we just left a really good meeting with the industry. The goal of that meeting was to discuss kind of what we've seen, so far at Michigan. Also talk about where we're going for the future as we come out of Michigan, heading into Darlington with that rules package. But the specific topic we wanted to cover with the industry was regarding the chase and our decision to keep the 2015 rules package as it is for the chase. And a lot of discussions we had with the industry. That includes a number of folks, the tracks, the drivers, the race teams, the OEMs, all believe that was in the best interest of the sport. Excited about the chase, excited about the package and what's to come in the chase, especially when you look back to last year. So that was really the main point we wanted to talk about. Shared some good dialogue back and forth, and then we'll move on, and everybody's excited about Sunday's race and tomorrow, of course, with the trucks, and then the lead up to the chase. So with that, I would open it up if anybody's got any questions.
Yep, we'll go over here first, over to Bob second, and then we'll back to Wolfgang third.
Package. That's the original beginning of the season package, correct?
That's correct. Yeah, we're gonna stay with the 2015 package. Yeah, we've seen some good things with that package. A lot of work has been done by the race teams already, leading up to the final 10 races, and feel like that's the best decision for the sport.
Okay, we'll go to Bob and then Wolfgang, and then over to Alan.
Bob Hocker, ESPN. I have two questions. First would be, did you feel like the teams would be spending too much money or too much time trying to adjust to a new rules package? And then are you going to still test either of these rule packages looking ahead to 2016 at any of the Goodyear tests coming up?
Yeah, Bob, I think it's important to go back and look at what our original plan was, and that was Kentucky, Michigan, and Darlington. And then we looked at Indianapolis, too, to try and apply the Michigan package. So our messaging all along was that we had the intention of keeping the chase where it was with the 2015 rules package. And in some of the dialogue, some of the folks wanted to push forward potentially, but when we looked at all the things that have been done, the preparation that's been done, the amount of work our industry has put into these races, which we truly appreciate, we think we're going to have the best racing for the fans with the 2015 package for all 10 races. And on the second part, Bob, we've still got Sunday's race to look at, and then we'll still look at Darlington as well and continue to analyze it for 2016.
Back to Wolfgang, and then over to Alan, and then down to Mike.
Wolfgang Monser from Germany, Rennsport Press Agency. Maybe you can give me some help with information with this aero package. I'm a little bit confused. Number one, is it not easier to launch an aero package which is good for the whole season instead of just for a certain kind of racetracks? Number two, before you introduce this aero package, how do you know that it's working? Did you make some simulation work, maybe in wind tunnel or on computers? And number three and last, how does the weather influence this aero package? As far as I know, hot weather has different aerodynamics than cold weather.
It's a lot to digest. Let me see if I can hit all three, Wolfgang. On the first one, not every racetrack's the same. And I think as we looked at the 2015 season and really on back, you heard us consistently say, here's the rules package for every racetrack. And that wasn't the case. There's different tires at certain tracks, different gear ratios. And so we looked at specific tracks where we thought we could have the biggest influence from a rules package, worked with the industry to select those races, and wanted to see if we can make improvements. And we outlined those ahead of time to the race teams, and we think that's, real world. We can see what the results are, especially coming out of Sunday and as we head into Darlington. In terms of research, absolutely. There's a ton of sim work that's done. There's a lot of work with Goodyear, a lot of conversations with the race industry, particularly the OEMs and the race teams, to look at approaching specifically Michigan. You'll have a new tire for Darlington based on that research. And then temperatures do play a role. So when we evaluate, this race specifically, we'll look at the historical data. What were the temperatures? How did that play into it, especially as it relates to engine and engine wear, and make decisions based on that.
Okay, we'll go over to Alan, down here to Mike, and then back to Brian Nelson.
Alan Cavana, Fox Sports. The Kentucky race, it got a lot of positive feedback initially. So there will be some who say, why not do more of that this year? So, I mean, how close was it? How hard was the decision not to just base it off that one race and try to do more of what we saw in Kentucky?
Yeah, it's a fair question, Alan, but when you look at the Kentucky race, we lost a lot of practice, and we just rolled out and we raced. So absolutely a lot of great things happened during that race. But that was one race, and one that we want to learn from and continue to take that forward and apply what we can to Darlington and do the same thing. So I would say a ton of positives we saw from Kentucky, but we've got to take the time to dial those things in and make sure that everybody's on the same page. We've got the best package to put forth, especially as we look to 16. So that does have a lot of momentum and a lot of positives that we can apply to Darlington and then make some calls post-Darlington as well.
Okay, down here to Mike, Brian, and then back to, where was it, Jay? Yes.
Yep. Mike Hembry, USA Today. Steve, how much was the Drivers' Council involved in this decision? And looking to the 16 schedule, are you close to that, and might the chase races change there?
So on the first question, the Drivers' Council was certainly one of the groups we talked to, but as you all know, the tracks are involved, our OEM partners are involved, the team owners were involved, crew chiefs were involved, so a lot of different opinions as to where we should go. Not everybody agrees. There are some folks, I'm sure, you can imagine, that would want to race certain packages for the Daytona 500. It always varies, but it's our job to make the decision on what we believe is best for the sport, and we'll put on the best chase possible, and that's what we did. And in terms of the schedule, probably about 3 to 4 weeks away. Do not anticipate major changes. Really liked what we saw with the West Coast swing. Seeing some really good positives coming out of Pocono, Watkins Glen with attendance being at all-time high. Coming here to Michigan, talking to Roger Curtis, again, attendance way up. So really liking where it falls in and trying to establish some consistent dates too as we go forward.
All right, we'll go to Brian Nelson, down to Jay, and then we'll wrap it up with Bob.
With MRN. So with the handful of race weekend trials that you'll have as you've honed this package, is that bringing you now to the point where you're confident that you'll have enough research and data to make a determination for 2016, or do you foresee the need for some testing throughout the chase or off season?
It's a good question, Brian. I think the intent would be that we see what happens during the race here Sunday, talk to all of our partners, do the same in Darlington, and then take that information, have a direction, which we feel pretty good about where we may head based on what we'll see on the racetrack, and then go in and do some sim work with all of our partners directionally on those packages to see if we can fine-tune that. But I don't anticipate additional races coming from there. I think we'll have enough data directionally to show us which way we want to go, and then really go to work with Goodyear and all of our partners on sim work to dial that in and make a call quickly for 16 so everybody can go to work on it.
Down here, Jay.
Jay Pennell with Fox Sports. What did you guys learn throughout this entire process in the back and forth with the drivers and the manufacturers and the owners and everything? Kind of piggybacking off of Mike's question about the Drivers' Council. What was the biggest thing you learned from that back and forth?
I think there's a lot of positives in terms of being able to. We always say the hauler's always open, but I think we're all running so fast, including everybody in this room, and to have some time just to sit down and really talk, not just about today, but where we want to go in the future. And I think directionally, talking to a number of the drivers, seeing, first of all, their passion for the sport, which is great, and taking the time to come in and tell us, here's directionally where we'd like to go. So I think that's been a huge positive. Same thing with the team crews, same thing with the OEMs. It's been really great feedback. It's then our job to talk, and really balance all of those opinions. No secret that, certain drivers or certain teams have packages that they feel better about. It's our job to put the most competitive racing on and the most fair racing that we can, and balance competition as much as possible. So that's the ultimate goal, but the dialogue has been terrific with everyone.
Bob Parker, ESPN. Any changes to the Talladega rules, especially in light of anything you've learned from the Austin Dillon crash?
Yeah, good question, Bob. There probably will be. We're still having some discussion with the industry heading into Talladega. Have not settled on anything yet, but I think you can anticipate something. Again, we're still in dialogue. Yep.
All right, let's wrap it up here. Go ahead. Wait, sorry. Happy birthday, by the way.
Thank you.
Oh, happy birthday, Lee.
Thank you, sir. Just kind of wondering, there's been talk that perhaps we might see restrictor plates at California, at Michigan. Obviously, you're going to want to wait and see what happens this weekend, but is that something that you might consider?
We have not had dialogue in terms of the industry, in terms of what that might look like. So our focus right now is on rules package here at Michigan. What did we see? Positive, negative? Can we build upon it? Go into Darlington and do the same thing. I think when you look at the racetracks and how we've grouped them, certainly California and Michigan share some same characteristics. The racing at California has been terrific lately. So we'll kind of take all that into consideration and then see what we learn Sunday and go from there.
There could be individualized style packages per track. Could there not?
I think it's a balance, Lee, because when you look at, there's only so much race teams can do, and they're already pretty taxed. So having, an individual rules package at every single race that varies is a big challenge. But I think what you'll see us do is more of a grouping of tracks, where they share some of the same characteristics. And if we can look at some balances there, that's what we do.
Thanks for coming in, Steve, and I appreciate the media for staying late to listen to Mr. O'Donnell. All
Thanks,
right,
everybody.
Steve.